Planning for learning is an intricate process. It requires attention to detail in a range of factors. These factors give insight into students' ability to conceptualize new principles and being able to use and apply them in their learning. Teachers meticulously plan to expose pupils to things like problem solving and divergent thinking will enhance pupils' learning potential. To plan effectively and efficiently can be mastered in 7 steps, which we will be exploring. When planning lessons, teachers must give thought to the prerequisite needed to access the new learning, or previously learned skills that the new learning is building on. In this phase of planning, teachers should also explore how they will assess that students have the prerequisite skills needed to access the learning. This considers the questions that teachers are going to be asking and what work that they're going to do before getting into the learning so that they can direct pupils' learning efficiently and effectively. There is more on this in the entry starting point video. When planning any new learning, thought has to be given to how the learning will happen and what modeling techniques will be used. It is vital to explore the strength and the weaknesses of the technique or the approach. Some factors to consider are: how will it remove misconception? How will it produce divergent thinking? How will it facilitate creativity and true conceptualization? How will it incorporate transferable skills? What are some of the threats posed with regards to resources, managing the learning process, motivating learners, things that might distract from the intended concept and cause misconception? How are those going to be managed? Some examples of modeling that can be used are: will you give pupils something that is wrong and the learning is about correcting it? Will you produce a finished product and the learning process is about reproducing it? Will you use comparison so that the learning is about the transition from one product to the next? Will you show an unfinished product and the learning process is to explore how to complete it? The modeling that is going to be used for learning need to be considered thoroughly so that this can be developed on effectively to ensure that the learning you require is actually the learning that will be taking place. When planning, it is important not to get lost in the various approaches of teaching a concept, so much that you lose sight of what you want students to learn from the lesson. The intention of learning needs to be foremost in your mind as you plan and develop the learning experience. Learning intention should combine learning that focuses on knowledge, aptitude, and skills. Using holistic learning intention that incorporates transferable, personalized learning and thinking skills, as well as the subject-specific learning objectives, ensures that students are learning effectively. Some examples of learning intentions are: to be able to describe a method for calculating the density for a regular shape, to be able to use long division techniques, to be able to compare the use of persuasive language technique between two authors, to be able to use writing techniques to present and build creative ideas. More information about learning intentions are available on the video Learning Intentions, Learning Outcomes, and Success Criteria. To realize learning, we need to think about what students will be doing. What are the learning activities that will be implemented to ensure that the learning intention is fully achieved? These could be collaborative learning, creative thinking, personalized thinking skills, active learning, game-based learning, project-based learning, learning pits, independent learning, among an array of other combinations of activities that could be used to ensure that pupils are well motivated and intrigued to take on the learning process. The idea of thinking about surface learning, deeper learning, and accelerated learning is a very important aspect of planning. When assessing prerequisites, teachers need to be aware that learners all come with their varying degrees of aptitude, that they are learning at different pace and at different rates, and these need to be factored in to their learning resources and provisions. These students need to be given the appropriate levels of challenge that will keep them engaged in their learning. How we differentiate and build this into the learning to ensure that pupils have a personalized learning experience is essential to the outcome that we will expect to achieve. More on differentiation is available in the differentiation video. Learning needs an ongoing assessment to verify the learning taking place, students' understanding of what they're learning, and their ability to apply it. The progress made will help to inform the next stage of the learning process. What are some of the questions you want to ask yourself and the students to be able to determine that the learning is actually taking place? Using success criteria for the learning process will be an excellent method of checking. More is available on this on the video that says learning intentions, learning outcomes, and success criteria. When we are on journeys, we always want to know what we are going to do next. This allows us to place the current stage into right perspective and see their relevance in the bigger picture. The teacher needs to always be aware of the next stage in the learning and how this will develop. Of course, the teacher will need to adapt this from time to time, using information they gather from the learning episodes as they progress. This needs to also be taught or shared with students so they too can understand what the next stage in their learning will be and also be aware of when they have gotten there. I hope that you will be able to use some of these techniques in your planning. For further assistance, there is a resource sheet that is available. Follow the information in the description below in order to access it.